Back.
What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast, and I hope you guys are sitting down because already just waiting to get on here. There's already been jokes cracking in between Jerry and Mike right here, so we're going to kind of see what kind of dirt we're going to be able to pull out on Jerry and so we're gonna. I think I heard Mike say something that he's gonna try to embarrass Jerry. I'm not for sure, guys, but uh, we're gonna see what happens. But with that being said, let's take care of some business first.
Colin,
On the
your
night,
your audio your audio needs to go up.
what about now?
No,
I hear you really well.
Yeah.
try again.
What? Testing.
I hear Mike well, but I hear you real low.
Um.
Go ahead. I'll
So.
listen carefully.
Oh, let's take care of some business. And so on the night on the water with Firefly Marine's carbon fiber boat and stern lights, a telescoping USGC approved, no glare, fewer bugs, crystal clear visibility for safe epic adventures. See it all at fireflymarine.com. Make sure you use the discount code DECKTALK10 and get a discount on top of that as well, guys. Um, but we do want to uh, before we get going, we want to do the salute to valor, and with the salute to valor, we are honoring tonight Stephen Rossborough. Um, his branch was Army, and he was in the Second Airborne, and so we want to thank you, Stephen, for all that you have done, and thank everybody else that has served this great country. Because if it was not for you guys, we would not be able to do what we do, and to be able to go chase after some green and brown fish and have a blast doing what we're doing. But thank you, Stephen, for all that you have done to serve this great country. So with that being said, I'm Colin Burnett, and I'm going to introduce. There's no need to introduce this fella because he's been on here probably more times than anybody else on the podcast. Um, he is an honorary uh, co-host, I guess is what we should say. We got Jerry Brusso with us. Jerry, what's up, brother?
Hey man, I'm doing good. Glad I could join you guys, and I'm looking forward to having some good laughs tonight.
I'm ready for it, but before we really get started, can you introduce our guest that we have on tonight?
Yeah, this is the infamous Mike Arnoldy from Haulin Bass Guides, and you've all seen videos of Hunter and I out on his airboat, his bass boat, and Mike's Mike and I have done a lot of trips together with Roland Martin and Ricky Medlock and Leonard Skinner. And man, this guy in Florida over by Headwaters and Stick Marsh, Farm 13, this guy knows it all, man. This guy can put you on fish. And he's going to tell us some pretty good stories tonight, I think.
Yeah. So, Mike, thank you for coming on, brother, and we're excited to hear some stories that you have, and we'll see where what kind of rabbit holes we can go down. So, thank you for coming on, Mike.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, I want to know, Mike, with you being out in the boat with Jerry a few times, and does who has caught the biggest fish out of you and him when y'all are fishing together?
That would be me.
That was so I so I don't know if if I don't know if Jerry looks frozen a little bit. No, But so out of Headwaters and Stick Marsh, do for people that do not know about Stick Marsh and Headwaters, that is not they're not very old like lakes or anything like that. Am I correct?
Yeah, Headwaters is the newest. It started in 2019, and Stick Marsh opened up in the late 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
So now when you like start like if you're taking clients out on there to let's say the Headwaters or something like that, do do like when if people are wanting to, because I've been on Headwaters a couple times and there's some monster bass that is in there. So do you prefer like to kind of just flipping in, like doing some punching, or do like if especially if you're trying to have somebody that is trying to catch a PB to them, and which it could be whatever size, or but do you prefer to have them flipping, or do you prefer to have like some live bait?
Well, that's a good question. Generally speaking, the live bait here is really, really good when it's super cold and windy and they won't they won't budge on an artificial bait.
Right.
But they eat the shiners because the shiners eat their eggs, and it's kind of a Hatfield and McCoy thing with them. They chew on the shiners. I prefer artificial. I mean, I love artificial fishing, but you can't tell a 7-year-old kid to cast 500 times or an 80-year-old guy.
Yeah.
So it depends on their skill level and what they want to do. Most people just
Right.
want the rod to bend, and so I kind of fit it to where their skill set is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because and then and for people that's not used to flipping and stuff, it actually, I mean, it is a technique because it's also a lot of feel. Um, because a lot of times when you're flipping into that thick coverage, that bass actually hits it on that way down, and all you really going to feel is just a little tick. Am I correct?
Right. Right. And we have
So
deep water flipping and just shallow flipping. So you can do it either way. In the deeper water, 8, 10, 12 feet of water, that's deep for us in some hydrilla,
right,
or you'll throw up on reeds and, 3 feet of water.
right. So so Jerry, what is your favorite type on Headwaters or Stick Marsh? What is your favorite type of a way to go and catch some big fish?
Man, I'll tell you, you already know the answer to that. I want a big stick, ounce and a half, 2 ounces of weight, and be punching through hyacinths, mats, whatever I can find.
Yeah. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's how I would love just go out there and just put on some 65-pound braid and just go out there and just punch a big weight and just go at it all
Uh-huh.
day. But I have Mike. You've been guiding for a minute, um, and have you had any kind of crazy stories with alligators? Because this Tennessee boy, we don't have to worry about anything coming out of the water trying to eat our bait, eat our fish, or even trying to get on the boats. But have you had any crazy stories about any kind of alligators?
Yeah. I have a couple that comes and visits me every December. They're an older couple from Georgia. And we were out fishing one time, and a lot of times if you catch a fish, they'll chase the fish that you're reeling in. And we're in an airboat, and an airboat's not real high off the water. It's got like a flat deck around it, but it's only about 10 inches off the water.
Right.
And this gator came beelining off of a bank and came up to the boat, and she climbed up my steps up over the seats and was sitting on top of the cage. An 80-year-old woman up on top, and she was freaked out. I mean, freaked out. And I carry a judge, usually for snakes. And I popped off around kind of next to it to scare it. And then it lunged, because of the noise, and sprayed her with water. And she didn't want to do that much anymore. She wanted to go in the bass boat. Oh,
Yeah. Jerry, have you had any instance with any kind of gators like that?
Oh man, you just opened a rabbit hole right there.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
actually,
get
I
one
have.
going.
I've got a real good friend, Alan Armour, out of Cummings, Georgia, and Alan's part Asian, part American, and he just kept looking at the gators on Okeechobee with me one day, and there was some big old gators there, and he kept saying, "I need to stay away from the edge of the boat. I don't want to fall out of the boat, man. That thing bite me or whatever." I said, "Ain't gonna bite you, dude." He's like, "How do you know?" I said, "This ain't gonna bite you, dude. Just don't worry about it. Just fish." So he kept looking at him, looking at him. He goes, "Man, they're getting closer and they're getting bigger." And I go, "Dude, they ain't gonna bite you, man. Don't worry about it." So he goes, "How can you be so sure?" I said, "Just trust me, man." So, being part Asian, next time he asked me, he goes, "Dude, how are you certain?" I said, "Because you're part Asian. They eat you, 30 minutes later, they'll be hungry again." He goes, "You're not right. You're not right." Yeah. So we've had some funny ones. And actually, one time, Roland was with me, and I was throwing a buzz bait, and a gator started coming for the buzz bait. So I picked up the speed, and man, I don't know how fast a bass can swim, but he caught that buzz bait just about the time the gator was almost going to catch it, and I got that fish up, and that gator went head first into the side of Roland's boat. Man, it was a
Wow.
big dog. He just banged nose into the boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
good thing them things don't know how to jump very good.
I I know when the first time that I had ever seen a gator in the wild was actually on Headwaters, and and to see a 10, 12 footer out there, just at first I thought it was just a log, and I was out there with Norman, and he's like, "No, that's a big old gator," and and then to have them come up by the boat, it was it was quite something else. Is the experience? We were in the Everglades, and going down the canals, and they would just come right down the center. And then as we're just trolling down the canals, they would come right at us and then kind of just go around us.
Uh,
And we had one that came around us, got to maybe 10 feet behind the boat, and flipped a Yui on us and came up and went right and just kind of right at the console and was just staring at us. And so, a guy from Tennessee, I pull out my phone, make sure my GoPro's going and have it, and I'm taking uh, pictures of it. And I stop the trolling motor. We're just sitting there, and I'm just taking pictures. And Norman, he says, "Well, you might want to get back on the on that trolling motor." He said, and I said, "Why's that?" I said, "I'm just taking pictures." And he says, "Right now, that gator is lining you up because you're the biggest thing on this boat." And he said, "I'm just going to be a little appetizer." He said, "You're going to be the full meal." And so as soon as he said that, I hopped on that trolling motor, and we were boogieing on.
uh-huh.
So, but
Really fishing in Florida for the most part, the gators aren't really a nuisance. They usually keep their distance. We keep our distance.
right.
Especially if one has any babies around or whatever, little ones, then we really keep our distance. But the thing I've had issues with more than anything, it's been mostly on Okeechobee, is snakes coming in off the power poles.
Oh, really? Just dropping down?
Yeah,
yeah, they
they
climb
come
up.
right up. They get on that power pole. They slip over to the jack plate, and then they come in right where your cables are going to your motor out of your bilge.
Really?
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah,
yeah, I have that happen a lot. They always come in the back of the boat.
man. So I I have a story about my granddaddy. We were fishing on Kentucky Lake, and I thought for sure he got hung up in a tree, and he went to go get it and pulled the limb down. And when he pulled the limb down, he got his Texas rig out and let go. As soon as he let go and that branch shot up and kind of shook, he had just a little tree snake just drop right down in between his legs. And I thought for sure that he was, and I was 9, 10 years old. And I thought for sure that it was child abuse because my granddaddy was telling me I had to get that snake out of the boat, and he was not having nothing to do with it.
Oh boy.
So,
Unreal.
but
Well, we've
so
got
like,
those water moccasins here, Colin. Let me tell you something. I carry that judge, and I've killed 2 boas, one about 4 feet long, the other about 8 feet long, that tried to come up the power poles. But I think the best one I ever had, my wife and I were out in the airboat out in Three Forks. It's like son of Stick Marsh. It's just 50,000 acres of bass love. And I see this snake off in the distance, and I was throwing a top water, and I was burning it. It was like a whopper plopper or something. And all of a sudden, this snake is coming straight at me, because they usually slither. And this snake is like demonic. All of a sudden, it's coming at me straight. And I'm yelling at my wife, "Get the gun, give me the gun." So I'm reeling real fast to get it out of the way, and it's still coming straight at me. And I grabbed the gun and boom, boom, and I shot it twice. And I didn't realize, but the line had wrapped around its head, and I was pulling that snake as I was reeling, and it was coming to my boat. I blew him in half. Yep. She was up on the third. She was looking at that going, "There's something wrong with that snake. There's something wrong with that snake."
So, but and that's, to me, it's just it's crazy. I mean, we have a lot of wildlife up here, but I guess what's amazing down in Florida is the size of the wildlife that y'all have is down there in Florida, which is, I mean, it's all beautiful. But I know one thing, I don't want to run across any of them pythons that y'all have down there. I've seen some monster pythons where people has gotten them.
Yeah, they killed one up here last year during it was during gator season. It was 14 feet long. Yep. Right where I fish, the spot right where I fish too.
Yeah. Brandon Thomas says, "I'm out on the gators."
Uh-huh.
So,
The other thing that's pretty common down here is you'll be fishing, on your trolling motor, and man, a lot of Florida fishermen can attest to this, especially Okeechobee. You'll be fishing along, and all of a sudden your boat will just jolt to the side, and you go look, and there's a manatee scratching himself on your lower unit. But he'll all of a sudden
really?
just hit that motor, and he'll swing that butt end around. It scares the heck out of you if you don't know what it is.
Yep.
But
That's
it's
crazy.
manatee. They love get scratching themselves on your prop.
They're like 800 pounds. They're not little bitty things. They're huge.
No.
Yeah, big old sea cows, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
They love it when you dump bottled water over the side. They'll lay underneath it and just sit there and drink it as you pour it down their throat.
really?
Oh, yeah. If
That's
you
great.
ever get near one, take out a bottle of water, just slowly pour it on the side, wait till it comes. It'll roll right over, and you just pour it down. It'll drink that. Loves drinking bottled water.
Really? So the first time that I had ever seen one was actually out of Savannah, Georgia. I was doing some inland fishing, and we were up in a creek, and it was coming, and it came right by where we were at, and so and it had a little calf with it, and so, but that was the first time I ever seen it. But it also had some prop marks on its back where a boat had ended up nailing it. And so,
Yeah, that happens a
but
lot.
so So, Jerry, what kind of stories? I'm trying to get down some rabbit holes, and y'all kind of holding out on me. I'm wanting some good fishing stories about maybe you and Mike fishing, or Mike and Hunter fishing.
Well, we got Kelly Hayward asking about Mike if anybody's had to grab him by the seat of his britches and pull him back in the airboat because he's on his way out.
Yeah,
So why don't we hear that story, Mike?
Yeah, let's hear that one.
You tell it. Well, you were better at it because you were the grabber and I was the driver. So it'd be better coming from your perspective, I think.
I wasn't on that trip. It was Callie sitting up next to you. I wasn't in the airboat on that trip. It's when you guys hit that straight
Oh,
bank.
that's when. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to a different story.
Always avoiding that
Well,
one. Yeah.
Well,
He's
no,
sliding
what
on
it is
that one.
we see all these lakes are connected. So you'll have like headwater, everything is connected by a water dam. But in an airboat, you can jump over a dike, like a wooden berm or wooden berms or sand berms. And so we were over in Kenansville fishing, and the water was a little bit down. So it's like a 4-foot bump to go up. And I've got like this airboat's got 600 horsepower on it. It's like a pontoon boat on this motor on the back, and it's like a dirt bike. So we had to jump this dirt berm, and I had some beef in there because Callie's not a little guy. And then we had me and his wife and all the tackle, and everybody's bringing drinks and a spare bed and everything. So we go to hit that thing, and I gave it a little bit of juice, and we caught air. And you have to be careful because you got to turn around and make a right-hand turn to go into the other canal, and kind of flew up, like lost contact with a seat. And made it. It was a spectacular landing. I mean, it was a spectacular landing. Didn't lose anybody. Nothing fell out of the boat, but it was a big splash at the end. Yeah, that was a good one.
So Mike and I are out there one day, just him and I in the airboat, which is unusual because usually I can't get on there without Hunter. Hunter loves being with Mike. Mr. Mike's his hero. So, excuse me, Mike and I are out there, and we're going to run dry. We're going to leave the lake, go someplace else. So we come around this corner, and he starts heading to this bank, and I'm looking at that, and that bank is taller than my head. And he comes nice and easy to that bank, and that thing looks like it's almost straight up, and he turns at the last minute. And I go, thank God we ain't going up that bank. That damn thing almost looked straight up. Well, he spun another turn and hit the throttle. We went up there, and I was half out of the boat getting ready to jump because I thought for sure we were going over backwards. But, man, that thing just hung on the ground, went up that hill and flattened out. He just looked over and laughed at me. That's all he did.
So, go ahead, Mike.
The first time we met, I got a call from Roland, and he goes, "Hey, man, you want to go film a show?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I got this guy, and we're going to have a tournament." So I thought he was going to hook me up with some bum, right? And he was going to try to do a beat down on us. So we meet at the dock, and Roland's got his little aluminum boat, and we're running out to Three Forks, and Jerry and I meet. Well, the first thing we're doing is Roland's crashed into some trees. We had to hook a rope to him and unhook him off the tree. It took it was horrible. Roland was soaking wet because, we were spraying him with water. So we finally get out to the lake, and we're kind of fishing around Roland, and Jerry and I are feeling each other out. And finally I looked at him and go, "Hey, man, you want to go catch some bigs?" He goes, "Yeah." So we just leave Roland and his buddy there, and we go shooting across the lake. And what did we have? We had a 9-7 and some 7s and some 8s. And finally Roland comes up a little bit later and he's like, "Son, y'all doing any good, son? How's it going?" And we said, "Yeah." "What you got?" He goes, "We got a 5. So we had already made this plan up. that Roland was going to come up, and we were telling him we were out of drinks, and he was going to pull up to our boat. As he pulled up, we started pulling all these big old fish out. And Son, we got to weigh those. Son, we need a picture. Son. And we just start chucking them back in. We're going, Roland, we already know what they weigh. So that was like how I first met Jerry. Yeah. That was such a fun day. From then on, we were like blood brothers.
Now hang on now. Hang on now. We need to tell the truth here. So Roland's idea of taking pictures of the fish is him holding our fish while we take his picture.
Right.
That was wrong. That was wrong. Yeah.
That's why we started to chuck him in the water.
Yeah. He got mad. We threw him back in the water. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give you one, and I wasn't there, but I'm gonna tell you how the story went down.
All right.
It's a funny one. So we're at ICAST, and I'm hanging out with Jimmy Houston and Roland Martin, and they said they're gonna go film together, and they're going down Headwaters. So I said, oh, okay. So I went off and did my thing. I don't know if Mike and I went fishing on our own or what we did, but somehow they went off filming on their own and we went someplace else. So anyway, when I catch back up with Roland, he tells me a story. He said, we were using Jimmy's boat. He said, and Jimmy was using this big top water once in a while, and they come at it and make a huge splash, but they wouldn't eat it. It was like they just spinning around the bait. So he said, I every time there's a splash, I gave up looking up there. So he said, we're going down the shoreline, and he said, Jimmy's on the very bow fishing straight out. He said, I'm on the left side fishing out, so I can't see Jimmy at all. He said, I hear one of them big splashes, and he said, this was a good one. So I turned around thinking it finally grabbed on his topwater bait, and Roland goes, when I turned around, there was no Jimmy in the boat. He said, I looked all the way around the boat. There's no Jimmy. He said, I look in the water. There's no Jimmy in the water either. He goes, I'm wondering where'd Jimmy go? He said, all of a sudden I look and I see this blonde mop coming up from the bottom. He said, and he pops his head up. He goes, get me out of here. Get me out of here. There's some big gators in Headwaters. So they get him out of there. And he goes, man, I need my rod. My rod's down there. So they had to spend like 30, 40 minutes with rattle traps, and eventually they hooked Jimmy's rod and got it back. So we kind of let it go because we felt embarrassed for Jimmy. We didn't say anything. So Roland and I are out there fishing one day, and Jimmy calls up. Jimmy goes, what are you doing? And I go, oh, I'm fishing with Roland. And he goes, where you at? I said, Headwaters. He goes, you doing any good? I said, no, we're in this spot that looks pretty interesting. I said, but we're not catching any bass. And hang on, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh, that's right. Roland called it Jimmy Houston's swimming hole. Jimmy's like, oh my God, he told you a story? I said, I know all about you swimming in here. But that's been our joke with him for quite a while now. We're going to have some good footage because second week of June, Hunter, Mike, and I are going to be out on Jimmy Houston's ranch for a week or two. So we're going to spend a lot of time with him there.
And we're going to my buddy who only lives like an hour and a half from where Jimmy's at. He's got 10,000 acres with 40 ponds that he's dug on it. And one of them's 110 acres, and it's like fishing in a barrel. I mean, so we're going to have like the comparison of these two Oklahoma hotspots. I mean, it's going to be fun. Going to be real fun.
Well, I'm just saying,
let's switch gears a little bit. We got to tell some funny stories and stuff like that, and some weird things. But there's probably some people out there looking for a little bit of information. So Mike, other than golden shiners or wild shiners, we know they work really good. But if somebody was coming down and couldn't book you because you were booked up, what's a good bait for them to throw in artificial baits?
Right now during the spawn?
Yeah, right now. From now to, let's say, April. Yeah,
well, we had that cold front, and the water was 76 degrees. It went to 43. Now it's back to 70-ish. I'm just pitching on scattered grass, spatter docks, trees, and whatever. These fish are bedding up. I'm pitching worms, pitching flukes. They've just turned on to where they're chasing. So like a topwater bite, like a pop shad, a Z-Man pop shad, or whopper plopper, or like a devil's horse.
Yeah.
But I'm keying in on, because this is our first major spawn. And what I would do is just pick a spot where you've got shallow close to deep, and which is like every one of our lakes, and just keep it in there and let it sit for 5 or 10 seconds and inch it through. This last week, every day I've had a fish over 7. Yesterday we had an 8.22, and I've had 3 or 4 fish that have actually pulled my airboat around. So
what's the biggest you've actually put in the boat this year?
10.2.
10.2.
Yeah.
What was your biggest last year there?
12.8. My biggest ever there was 14.6. It was an October fish. Wasn't even a spawn fish. I caught it on a Senko, and it had eyes the size of a golf balls. Man, that thing was monster.
Yeah.
A lot of double digit fish. Yeah, a lot. I mean,
so I think I just been going out with the wrong people, Jerry.
You need to come with us, buddy. I'm telling you, I've
come and
already
have fun.
invited you before.
We'll make a story out of you, Colin.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm not afraid to be the butt of the joke either. So,
hey,
especially
I'm a little nervous if we bring you out there on Headwaters, because next thing you know, you're going to be changing your mailbox down to Florida, and all your friends are going to be missing you up there.
That's all right. That's all right. They're going to be asking where are you at, and then I'm going to tell them that I'm just send my stuff to Jerry's address, and so.
Well, Colin, I tell you what, I really envy you, because my buddy Jeff Reed lives up there, and we went up and fished Chickamauga, Nickajack, and Gunnersville in like a 5-day swing. Buddy, I had my feelings hurt several times doing that, and it was so much fun. I mean, smallmouths, largemouths. Golly, I mean, yeah. You've got some good fisheries, buddy.
Well,
somebody just caught a 15.75 out of Nickajack.
I saw that.
It broke the state record. And so,
that's a big, golly.
Yeah. And the thing is Nickajack, we used to call it the hidden gem because, it's right in the middle of Chickamauga and Gunnersville. And so when we would get tired of all the boats and the traffic on Chickamauga, we're going down to Nickajack, and if you want to catch some good smallmouths, we stay up on the north end. If you want to catch some green fish, you go to the south end. And then last spring, the Bass Pro Tour came to Chickamauga. They did day 1 and 2 on Chickamauga. Day 3, championship day, was on Nickajack. And I was like, well, it'll be all right. They didn't really have too much practice because the couple days before we had some pretty bad thunderstorms, and so they really was not getting much practice on Chickamauga or Nickajack. And I was like, so they're going to either stay down on either the north end or the south end. No, them guys, you had Jacob Wheeler fishing up north, and he was Lake Lawrence beat him with the very last cast, beat Wheeler, and Wheeler had one on that he did not get over the gunnel in time, and Jake was down south throwing topwater over the grass, and I was like, man, and then after that, everybody started coming to Nickajack, in which I was telling Jerry that Nickajack probably put out just as many double digits last year as what Chickamauga did. And, and so a lot of people don't know, but they, here within like the past 5-6 years, they've been stocking that Florida strand bass down on the south end of Nickajack. And they're finally starting to beef up, and we're actually starting to see some good fish coming out of it.
Well,
So
we were there in the summertime. I'm going back this summer, but we took our wives on the boat and they wanted to go swimming. So we were dragging them behind the boat through that grass, and they were stirring up the grass, and then we'd throw behind them and we were catching fish. And they were screaming, "Oh," because we got up in that snot grass. They didn't like that a bit. I said, "Just stay in the water. You're catching fish. You stay in the water." Man, that is an absolute honey hole you got there, buddy. That is special. Yeah.
Well, and I think the biggest fish I've caught on Nickajack was a little over 8 pounds. And, but I caught my PB 1134 on Chickamauga, and I was doing some night fishing. And so, and just flipping some grass. And so, but yeah, it is something else. We are blessed, but anytime that I get a chance to go down to Florida and able to put a line in the water, I thoroughly enjoy it. So,
well, you need to come. I'll tell you what, buddy, we'll change your mind about Florida. Seriously. Well, we have the 5 best, I think, the 5 best lakes in the country within 15 minutes of my house anywhere I go. Just because, well, I know them. I've been fishing them forever, but golly, we got bigs too. I mean, big.
So, I know we've had Jerry on, and we were talking about Florida and how they're spraying, and how Okeechobee has changed so much in the past 5 to 8 years or whatever because of them spraying the grass. Is Headwaters the same way with how they're spraying, like on Okeechobee?
Yeah, that lake is not the same as it was when it first opened up. The grass is making a comeback. I think some of it was from they just had people out there that didn't know how to move grass around with their boat, and they got so many calls of floating islands and all of whiny people that couldn't move it that they just went in there and nuked it. Yeah. And they just made the whole lake open. I mean, it used to be where you had to force your way into spots. And now it's just like one big open lake, and the fish are smart. They're hiding way up under the mats, way back, and you got to hunt them now to get the bigs. But they're still there. They got nowhere to go. It's just they're not as accessible as they were at first,
Yeah. So, so how do you go about, because again, like being in Chattanooga and fishing the Tennessee River, pretty much practically my whole life, and we could go down a bank and you can see with how the current's flowing and having little eddies and stuff like that, to where you can pretty much go down and be like, all right, there's a fish on that. But when you're down in Florida, I mean, as soon as you put the boat in the water, it looks like you should be able to catch 10 pounders just right there. I mean, at the boat ramp, just flipping. So how do you go about trying to put your clients on the best quality fish? Because everything to me looks great. I mean, that's one thing that I have issues, like if I'm going down there, that of actually finding that perfect, it may only be 20 yards little spot to where you go, but how do you go about finding that?
Well, it reminds me of when I first started guiding. I was up at Lake Fork and I met Mark Pack, and he helped me out a lot. And what a nice man, what a great human, And he told me, he said, Mike, take the trees out of the equation. He goes, it's what's under the water around those trees that you need to understand. So you got to really do your homework. And we have good topographical maps that were made. And, hell, now everybody's got it on their chip. And you just have to find humps and changes in elevation. There's seasonal patterns, just like you guys have. Moving water here, when we get the rainy season, always helps. but a lot of it has to do with just a foot or two difference in elevation here, or like a ditch or a hump, or
Right.
they relate to that. And then whatever's around
Right.
it is a bonus because we have grass everywhere. So
Right.
you're really looking for something that's different around the grass is the secret, to be honest with you. I mean,
Right.
and that's all over Florida. I mean, to me, it's been my pattern,
So on Headwaters or Stick Marsh, you actually have like moving water there.
Yeah, they see what they use that for is it's a giant filter. So all those farms down from us were putting pollution into it, pesticides, fertilizer, and all that, and we were having fish kills, and they couldn't figure it out. So then they finally figured it out. So they ran all that farm water in through these lakes and let the grass filter it. And then the grass filters through these 5 different lakes and goes back into the St. John's, and it comes out minus the boo boo. So they flow the water for hurricanes and water management, that kind of thing. But when we get rain here, we'll get like sometimes 30 inches a month, during the rainy season. So they got to move it somewhere, and it all goes north towards Jacksonville. But yeah. So we don't have like a TVA like you do. It's just little bitty dams that are like water, like, I don't know what you call it, like a gate that goes up and down and lets it out, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And so when they have them open, do the fish tend to like go to that the moving water and stuff?
They love it.
So it would like, if there's running water, it'd kind of be like what we're looking for, because on the Tennessee River, to be able to find those little eddies and little points that stick out on that, just to where, because they're ambushing, all they're doing, like on the Tennessee River, they're looking upstream. And I tell people, like, river bass are kind of lazy because all they're really doing is just sitting there ambushing whatever's coming by, and they're just letting the current bring whatever by them. And so that'd be something I would love to be able to hit that, especially if I could get it, time it right to where there is some kind of running water. And
come October, November. I tell you what, it's like that hump that's in Guntersville right before the dam. And they start flowing that water, and those fish set up on that hump. It's that community hump where everybody's parked. Right. But man, you'll be there and there's no fish. All of a sudden, bloop, the whole graph fills up with fish on that hump. Yeah, just like that. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, see, like, we've gone out and I was hitting this whole this point last year on Chickamauga, and I tell people that if there's no current on the Tennessee River, it's going to be a tough day for you. Which there's always some kind of current, but you want them to kind of have a good pull coming through. And I was sitting there, and I had went to this point to where I've been catching some decent fish, and they were pulling. Like, you can go to the TVA app and you can see with the times that they're going to be pulling on Tennessee River, and they had been pulling early in the morning, and then they flipped it to where it was going to be like 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, and before that early morning bite that I was getting was no more until they started pulling that current, and about 2:30 is when I could see on the live scope to where everything's just kind of just funneling back up onto that point, like what you were saying.
Yeah, Guntersville. Yeah, we fished Guntersville a couple times. It was the same thing. The water had to be moving there. Yeah. Yeah.
So Jerry, out of the Tennessee River lakes that you have fished, what has been your favorite Tennessee River lake?
Hands down, Chickamauga.
Yeah.
Chickamauga. I lost in a tournament, my co-angler, an old FLW tournament. He missed a bass over 12 pounds I had up next to the boat. And then my grandson Hunter, won that tournament, Bill Dance Giant Bass Open with a 909. And I've tangled with some other big fish up there. And it almost makes me feel like I'm at home because those are Florida strain bass you got in there that have
Yeah,
grown big like that. They were put in as F1s, and now they could be diluted down. They could be F2s, threes, fours,
yeah,
whatever, but they still have that football look to them, where they're almost as big around as they are long.
yeah.
And I know you got a restriction that's pretty big on smallmouth. Was it like 19 inches to weigh in?
18 inches. 18 inches.
18. And I know where there's some big smallmouth, and man, I love tangle with smallmouth. And the one thing we haven't talked about is you got them smallmouth, but we got the peacocks.
Yeah.
And we love going
And
to catch them peacock bass.
and I
They're
tell you
mean.
this, I would trade all the smallmouths that I have caught just to go after some peacocks. That is
Well, right
the
after I cast, why don't you plan on staying a day or two, and we'll get your bucket list figured out.
yeah, we definitely that would be something for sure to where I mean again I tell people and they don't believe me that them peacocks are vicious, especially if you're throwing some kind of top water. And
Uh,
and I tell them I'm like when they hit that little pop R or something like that, it sounds like somebody's just taking a cinder block and just throwing that cinder block down into the water with how hard that they're hitting it. And they're like, "There's no way," and I'm like, "Yeah, there's a way, there's a way."
huh.
So
It's really strange too because in the middle of July, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when it's like 118, it feels like you're on the face of the sun. You throw a top water out, and them things go ballistic on them. They love the
yeah,
heat. They hate the cold. And if it gets too cold here, they die.
really.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They don't.
so
They can't handle the cold water.
did y'all have a lot dive from? I mean, because y'all happen to have a what? It's been 50 years since y'all had a winter cold spell like y'all had. Did y'all have a lot of fish die because of that winter spell?
Mostly
Yeah, about
tilapia.
10, about 10,000 of them died around here. The gators got
Really?
fat.
Tilapia, right?
No thing. Tilapia. Yeah, the bass got spunky from it. It really made them. I mean, a 2 pounder fights like he's 6, and a 6 pounder fights like he's 8, and the 8s are just pulling the boat.
So
It sparked them up.
so do you think with it being cold and all the grass and stuff that y'all have there, do you think that cold water kind of held that oxygen in that water to make them spunky like that?
Yeah.
I think it does. Yeah.
And what happened was it killed. See, our grass was topped out because we were low. And so it
Right,
shrank that topped out grass down to about a foot or two below the surface. So now they've got that space between that, say it's 4 feet deep, 2 feet of it's
right.
grass, 2 feet of it's water. And that oxygenation is happening real good down there. It's because it's
I bet.
regenerating itself. Yeah, it's like they're spunky, man. I mean, we call them ditch donkeys. I mean, they're
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
Heck yeah. So,
You know,
and which
here's
I'm
here's another here's another odd thing for you, Colin.
yeah.
Um, you know what the beetle spin is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what a roadrunner is?
Yep.
Jimmy Houston bait.
Right.
Okay. We've got canals down here that are full of Oscars, and they're the kind of Oscars that maybe in your area people buy them to put in aquariums. But
Right.
around here, people have released them and they've multiplied. And man, in a day, you can go along the bank down these roads and fish these canals and catch like 100 Oscars a day.
Man, that would be.
And they
And
get big.
that's
They get
Oh, they
big here.
do.
Yeah.
and I mean, because in like in Tennessee, like we really don't have. uh we used to have a lot more like public, like especially if somebody's wanting to go do some bank fishing like that. Um, but now more or less, it's you really don't have the opportunity besides going to a state park or something like that to do some bank fishing for some people. Um, but that'd be uh, something very interesting to be able to just walk down a canal uh, and just go catch little Oscars or some bass or whatever.
Well, you
Cichlids.
because there's freaking snakes everywhere. I mean, you just don't go walking down there like you're on a stroll.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have a gun. Yeah, better have a gun. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. So, because I want to say this kind of leading into because next week we're heading to Knoxville for the Bassmaster Classic. Right now, Chickamauga is sitting at 55, 56 degrees. We're supposed to be hitting 80 tomorrow. We hit upper or into the 70s today. And so we're going to have like the next week is going to be in the mid to upper 70s. With that being said, the water temp's going to be over 60 degrees, and you know the saying is once that water hits 60 degrees, it's going to be time for spawning. What is y'all thinking of who's going to win the Bassmaster Classic, and how do you think they're going to do it?
I think the guy who fishes offshore and catches those fish on the way in. I saw those guys do it at Lake Fork all the time. They'd show up there, and everybody was banging the banks trying to beat those fish. And those bedfish got nervous and skittish, and those fish moving up were still solid. And I think the guy who can figure out that pattern, where they're at coming up that, moving in, I think that's going to be the guy who gets the bigs. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that there's going to be some big fish being caught. Just because I was out there and they're ready to go. They're already in that pre-spawn, and I've started seeing where they're just getting shallower and shallower. So I think somebody's going to catch some good ones bedding, though.
Well, early on, but you know how, I mean, man, those fish just they're looking over their shoulder after day two. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest with you, I would love to be able to see John Cox go out there with a frog and just catch him on a frog all day long. And that would be something to see him or Laker Howe. That's who I think is I would love to be able to see them too.
Well, what do you think the water temp's going to be up there?
Say that again.
What do you think the water temp is going to be up there?
It will probably be about 64.
Oh wow,
to 65. Yeah,
wow.
Because we're going to be pushing 80 for the next week. So, and we're not supposed to this Sunday. We're supposed to have rain showers, but then it's supposed to get in and get out, and I think it depends on how much water that it actually drops, and if it's going to be a cold rain, it may put it just a hair over 60. But we'll be there. I think them fish are going to be up. That first wave of spawning fish is going to be happening during the classic.
Well, it's on here, buddy. I mean, it's full on. Right. They've been pushed back. You know, we have 6 months of spawn in Florida. It starts in November and ends in May. But they got pushed back for like 3 cold fronts, and they're just itching. And I mean, like I said, every day this last week, 1 over 7 and bigs. You know, so
right.
Yeah, I think you guys are in for a treat.
Yeah.
The problem that we're facing here in Florida right now is last year the state got ready for some hurricanes or at least tropical storms, and neither of them things ever hit the state. So we have a water problem right now, and we had a unusually dry, rainy season, and we've got a lot of lakes that are down right now. And I'm going to tell you that Major League Fishing has heavy hitters scheduled for Orange Lake, and right now you cannot launch a boat on Orange Lake. There's not enough water to put a boat in there.
3 feet down. They're in trouble. Yeah.
So, and when is because the heavy hitters is coming up? Let's see.
May, and our rainy season doesn't usually start till June.
Yeah, it's May 16th, and so
and our rainy season June 1st when it starts.
Wow.
They might have to fish or something. I don't know. They're going to have to move it to a river, to the St. John's or someplace that's got. Yeah, they won't be able to. It's impossible. I don't know how they're going to get boats in.
So, do you think that Bass Pro or MLF or Bass Masters, do you think that they'll put a tournament on Escapoga?
No, not big enough.
It's not big enough.
No. Now they did improve the facilities for parking the trucks and boats and stuff, but it's just not a big enough lake. You got to remember Major League Fishing back when they first started. I believe it was the very first tournament when it was only 6 guys on the water each day.
Right.
And they would fish for the whole week and then get down to the championship. The very first one was on Lake Estapoga, and I was there as a camera boat for the entire week.
Yeah, and is that the one that Edwin Evers won?
Yeah, I warned them that on championship day, the hole that they had to stay in was the worst hole in the whole lake, and they were making a death mistake there. So we're out there, and we're on the last day championship. Ish Monroe's leading, and they're catching nothing in that dead hole, what I call the dead hole. And all of a sudden, an announcement came across our boats that the entire lake is now open for the rest of the day. And Edwin made a good run to Arbuckle Creek and set up on a S-curve in it and started catching the heck out of them and pulled it off.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
That was interesting.
Moving water in Florida. Your savior.
That's it, buddy. Moving water.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, we have had you on for right at an hour, and so we have a question that we ask everybody that comes on. Jerry has answered this question probably about 100 times already. So Jerry, you want to ask the questions, or you want me to ask it?
No, I'll ask it. Okay. I got a question before we do that, though. I cannot see any messages from the chat. Is there anything that you can see that we need to ask him? Is there anything you think is really important that we should ask?
Nothing that I have. I mean, I've seen a little bit to where Chad Applegate said Peacock is on his bucket list, and he said. Then he also said the cold spell or cold snap helped, and so. But it's nothing that it was really kind of asking any kind of questions, and so. But yeah.
That Chad Applegate, his wife's a heck of a fisherwoman. I had the opportunity of being in the boat with him, and boy, for 2 days she smoked his butt. Yeah, she caught him. All right, let me get to the question. Mike, I'm going to ask you a question. We ask all our guests this as the last question of the show. And if you don't understand my question, go ahead and ask me about it. But if you had the opportunity to get in the boat and fish a whole day with one person that's either passed on or is still with us today, who would that person be and why?
My dad. He started me fishing at the age of 4, and he taught me how to fly fish, how to bass fish, how to saltwater fish, how to be patient, how to be a man, how to be a husband, a father. And, that's the stuff I've done for my sons, that I put that onto him. I hope that they say that same thing. But my dad was the best friend and the best father a guy could ever have. And I know a lot of kids don't have a dad, but he was the luckiest fisherman I've ever seen too. I mean, that guy, he was a stick. But I just learned from him. I mean, old school, we didn't have electronics, and we were triangulating points and sticking ropes down and just trying stuff and Farmer's Almanac and all that. But yeah, Dad, he was a hell of a man. Seriously.
Yeah. So Stephen Sturgeon said, kind of to answer you, Jerry, on was he said good stories, not much room for questions today. So
No, we didn't leave a lot. We tried to tell you some of the funny stuff, and we could have gone into some of the funniest places people have gotten hooked in our boats, but man, I don't think you want to hear that because boy, there's been more than a couple guys that had a bait go a little south of the zipper and go right through the material, and they screamed like girls for like 15, 20 minutes. And dude, there's no way I'm getting down there and pulling them out. Here's the pliers. Get in the back of the boat. You're on your own.
Colin, ask Jerry about ICAST, him becoming an honorary member of the Lions Club of Japan.
Oh yeah, I infiltrated their group picture at Delmonico's restaurant, and
yeah,
I was giving the thumbs up, and the Japanese dudes even gave thumbs up, and they gave me a pin, making me an honorary member of the Japanese Lions Club. So, man, Godzilla. What did you say, Mike?
You were screaming Godzilla at him.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, and they're going like this. And man, the guys with me said, "Only you can pull that off because you ain't afraid to say nothing in front of nobody." Yeah, we had fun.
That is funny. Well, guys, next week we're going to have the traveling fisherman back on, and we're going to get onto a subject that we got onto right before we got off with him. If you do not know, Idaho and Colorado right now is trying to pass a law to where you cannot hunt or fish in the state. It is going to be a law to be able to do that. So we've done some research on it. We're going to dig into that, and we're going to see what we can do. And I think that it's going to be a good episode, and I think that they're making a mistake, especially when they start getting overran by wildlife, and then then they're going to wish that they had some people hunting and fishing. So next week we got the traveling fishermen back on, and then we're going to we got media day on the 12th, which is Thursday next week. And Friday evening, we are going to have a special episode that is that we're going to air. We have Randy Howe that had came on. It's going to be a recorded episode talking about his classic win in 2014. So it's a great episode. So. And if you're
he freeze.
Yeah.
That
he went offline, people. I don't know what happened. Oh, there you are. He came back.
Yeah, there it is. So next week, again, we're going to be. Excuse me. We got media day to where we're doing. We're going to be interviewing the anglers. If there's an angler that you want to see us interview, leave it in the comments, and we will get to it. And then Friday we got Randy Howe, and but if you're in the Knoxville area, go. It is the classic is the Super Bowl of fishing. It is Bassmaster does one heck of a job of putting it on, and Knoxville always shows out. They have the biggest attendance record for the Bassmaster Classic, which they done here 3-4 years ago. So make sure you can park and watch the launch, go to the expo, and then go to the weigh-in without moving your car. So it is phenomenal. Make sure you go check that out. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed the stories and talking about some fishing. And it will be it'll be an honor to be able to come down there and hop on a boat with you sometime soon.
Well, let's don't just talk about it, make it happen, because we only have so many days to do these things, and you don't want to go, man, I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, we need definitely plan that. And hey, I'd like to say, if Patty's watching this, hope you're enjoying your vacation, and glad I could fill in for you. You'll have the seat back next week, and I hope you all enjoyed this show. And Mike, relax, man. I never said anything about that day you were fishing in the dress. I didn't mention that, so relax.
Yeah, yeah.
I me $500. What is the guy to say? No. I mean, come on, man.
So, but
y'all have a good night.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. And,
Thank you.
And guys, go check out Mike at Haulin Bass Guide.com and on social media, and go book a trip and tell him that you've seen him on Deck Talk Podcast. You're not going to get a discount, but it'd be cool to let him know that y'all seen it. So, but guys, thank you so much. Remember, God loves you as if you're the only person in this world to love, and we will see you next time.